Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 1:45 a.m. on Sunday evening, going into Monday. It's 30 degrees outside. I feel like it's been 30 degrees every time that I vlogged in the last week. It feels like that. Maybe it was just yesterday, I don't know. And I have a big water with me. And I also have a Diet Coke with me. So, I am fully prepared when it comes to drinks tonight. I feel kind of like worn out tonight a little bit. Like, not tired necessarily. I took a nap tonight. Alex didn't really do a whole lot. He just kind of slept off and on all day long. And, I like looking for my other lip gloss. I'm gonna use this one. I don't want to use the Lunar Beauty because it's my last one. I need to order some more, but I haven't ordered some more yet. I thought I did. Like, I had it open on my computer, and then I guess I didn't. But anyway, we didn't really do a whole lot today. I mean, typical Sunday for us. And Alex just kind of slept off and on and watched TV. What was he watching? I asked him earlier what he was watching, and I can't remember now what he was watching. Well, I was trying to help him get HBO Max set up. And I can't even remember what he was wanting to watch on there. I know it's not Heaven's Gate, which is what I'm watching. So I helped him get it set up. And there was something on there that I told him that I thought he would like. And now I can't remember. They look at a lot of the Friends episodes. Alex loves Friends. Just when I was starting to kind of like try to get into that show, because when we were in San Diego, it was like a year ago, September, like Alex and Fufu had me watching the Friends episodes. If you remember, I talked about that. I don't love the Friends series. Like, I just have never got into it. I remember this guy that I dated, the one that I dated as soon as I got out of treatment. He was like obsessed with Friends. And that's when it was like on originally. And like he would be here visiting or whatever. And he would be like, we have to watch Friends. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, aren't you here to see me? We would have to sit there for the half an hour or whatever and watch Friends. I just never thought it was funny. I think Lisa Kudrow is hilarious, but other than that, and I like Courtney Cox from the Scream franchise. But Jennifer Aniston, I know people can't stand when I say this, but I really am not a Jennifer Aniston fan. Yeah, I never thought the show was very funny. So I told Alex, I said they have some of the episodes on there, and he was watching something though, I can't remember. He was watching The Real Housewives. I'm like 3 episodes behind on Salt Lake City, and then I have to watch the OC. And then I think Atlanta started tonight. I know Atlanta started tonight. So, but the Housewives I can have on like in the background when I'm cleaning and stuff like that. Like, I don't have to sit there and just like watch it. You know what I mean? I go through phases too, like where I'm like real into watching the Housewives, and then I have phases where I'm like, it's too toxic and crazy. I've talked about it on here. Right now I'm kind of in a phase where I'm like real into the Housewives. Like, I like watching them. And Tanya and I have been talking a lot about them. So, I've been watching them. I don't think I'll ever probably watch New York again. Like, a lot of people have, like, left New York. And, I don't know. It got kind of real sour grapes towards the end for me. And, I mean, they're all kind of like that a little bit. But I always wonder, like, when you watch those shows, like, especially, like, Salt Lake City, like, it doesn't really seem like any of them, like, were really that, like, they knew of each other in social circles, but they weren't, like, you know, it always makes it seem like they're friends, right? And, like, they hang out and stuff together. Or do they just go to this town and they, like, run an audition and they pick, like, 6 women, you know, that, like, are good for the show, and then they have them, like, get along for, like, 3 or 4 months, or, like, do background filming and, like, get to know each other, because most of them don't seem like they would be friends with each other, you know, or, but then you'll watch it, and they'll be like, well, 10 years ago, this came out, so you're like, okay, well, some of them are friends. I don't know, it's interesting. So yeah, I was saying that I feel kind of like worn down a little bit. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know if it's my sleep schedule, my horrible eating, probably all of the above. But today, and today was like the first day that like I didn't really, yesterday I filmed a drama video. I did 4 videos yesterday. Today I did a Peterisms video, and then I did my vlog, and that was all I posted. And I just was like, I think I need to take a day or two and just not do anything and just relax is how I felt today. But then even doing that, it's like, I don't know if you guys are like me, but I always like in my head, like if I haven't made a list, which I don't usually make a list for, well, I did make a list of things I wanted to do, but like I don't put down like clean, dishes, laundry, I don't put all that stuff down. So by the time that I've like cleaned up my desk area, cleaned the kitchen, put the dishes away, done laundry, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, you know, then it's like late in the evening, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, I don't know, I just have a hard time just sitting there not doing anything, like just watching TV. Tonight, I ate my leftover pizza, and I watched the 3rd episode of the Heaven's Gate series. I really wanted to finish it today. Like, this is what I'm talking about. I really wanted to finish it today, but I can't sit there and just not do anything. And so then I think, like, I push myself to get all this stuff done that is just, like, pointless stuff anyway. Like, I mean, all I did today was, like, clean the kitchen, arrange my books, you know, do the dishes, put the dishes away, laundry, I mean, you know, dusted the entire living room. Like, there just was just stupid stuff, you know? And then I looked at the clock and it was like 7 o'clock. And I'm like, well, the evening's over, you know? And then I drove around for a little bit and listened to my audiobook. I was going to do a booktube video, but I was like tired. I was like, oh my God, why am I so tired? Oh, I had my book club today. That was the other thing. So Mel and I had our book club. I said my book club, but Mel and I's book club. Well, it's not our book club either. It's just the True Crime Book Club, where we talked about the J.C. Dugard books. I had all this technological trouble, like, signing on. Like, I just couldn't, it was just, like, pixelated, and people couldn't hear me. And I had to go out twice, and then finally it worked, but it still was, like, low quality. So I did that, and that went till about 5:20. Yeah, it's just like, do you ever feel like, before you know it, like the day is over? And then I was talking to Tanya, and she said, I was talking to her on the phone, and we were talking about Christmas lights, and I was telling her about, I said I'm getting ready to pass Connor Prairie, because I was listening to my audiobook. I'm trying to finish a solitaire book. I'm finishing it tonight. I am finishing, I've got 3.5 hours left, and I'm listening to it at 3 times speed, which is like an hour. I'm finishing it tonight, because I should have finished it yesterday. So anyway, and I started reading a graphic novel that I got called Bloom, which is about this kid, and it's like he wanted to go to college, and like his parents didn't have enough money, and they run a bakery, and his sister gets married at the beginning of it, and she's like, you have to stay and help mom and dad, and his parents are like, you have to stay and, well, his dad's like, you have to stay and help at the bakery because we need you. And he wants to move to the city to start a band with like his friends, or like try to help this, like get this band started. But at the same time that that's helping, his name's Ari, the same time that that's happening, this guy, Hector, I feel like I've read this before, or I feel like I know this story or something. It's very similar to me. I think it's like a J. Bell story, it reminds me of. But, which I also got the J. Bell, Something Like Summer graphic novel came in the mail yesterday. But at the same time, this guy Hector comes to town to, like, I guess like his Nana's has passed away or something, I'm assuming, and so he's like cleaning out her house, and his friend is Meg, is like, he talks to her on the computer, and she's like, he finds this like old cookbook of hers, and he's like, all her recipes, and she's like, oh, you should make something out of it. And so of course he bakes bread, and so she's like, or so he's like, probably going to be ended up working at this bakery or something with Ari, and then they're going to fall in love, and that's going to be the story. There are so many Christmas lights. Oh, that's what I was going to say, Tanya. So I was talking to Tanya, and she said that I was like passing Conner Prairie, and I was going like north or south. So in case you live in Indianapolis, just so you know. And she said, where's Harrison Street? And I said, I don't know. I felt like I had passed it already. And Tanya is not the greatest with directions. And she goes, are you going north or south? And I said, I'm passing Conner Prairie. It's on my right. And she goes, oh, it should be right there. Well, it wasn't. It was the other way. And because she and Eric like drove and saw it. There were 2 houses on the street. So if you're going north on Allisonville, if you live in Indianapolis, if you're going north on actually, I like was sitting there and I FaceTimed to Melissa to show her, because Melissa loves Christmas lights. And Melissa's like, oh, they've been doing that for a couple years. And I said, yeah, there's 2 houses on the street. And she goes, oh, there's 2 now? There was just 1. But anyway, there's 2 houses that have their lights synchronized to Christmas music. It's really, really cool. So you turn your radio station, like they have a sign in front that says like the radio station, and you turn it to that radio station, and then like the lights play to the music. It was really cool. And then because I didn't know that I was gonna go out looking for Christmas lights, I FaceTimed Alex too, and he was like, oh my God, those are so pretty. So anyway, I just went to one of the houses. I mean, I saw both of the houses. I drove by both of them, but I just watched like one of them. People were like sitting out on the street. It was like, there was like probably like 5 of us just parked on the side of the street watching it. But it was very cool. So yeah, that was my big exciting day. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm really actually loving this book that I'm listening to, Solitaire. It's about this girl named Tori. And she's like 16, I think, in high school in like, not London, but like outside of London. It's really interesting because, so it's the same, I think I talked about this earlier today, but it's the same storyline as the 2 graphic novels that I read, Heartstopper, except that's her brother, Charlie. And so, like, it's almost weird, like, if you hadn't read the graphic novels, because, like, for me, it, like, all merges together. It's like when you read all of the Simon verse books from Becky Albertalli, like, from, like, the Simon versus Homo sapiens, Love Simon, that movie, you know? Like, when you read all of those together, it kind of, like, makes sense, you know? But, like, even more so with hers, like, you would have to, like read all of it to, like, kind of understand the full story, which is so strange. Like, you couldn't just read one book and have, like, a certain idea about it. I don't know how to explain it. Like, in this book, like, Charlie and his boyfriend are already together. But in the graphic novels, it's like they're getting together. And then this, like, Charlie has this, like, whole situation, this mental health issue that happens, which is a huge part of the book. And, I mean, it's not a huge part, but it's a pretty big, significant part of the book. And, they don't mention that at all in the graphic novels. Now, I've only read 1 and 2. 3 should be coming tomorrow, so I guess maybe I'll find out then. I don't know. But, and it talks a lot about, like, bullying and, like, homophobia and stuff like that. But her book is good. At first, like, I felt like it was very teen angsty. I don't know who I was telling that. I might have been telling it to you. I might have been talking about it on my book. Is my battery already? Please tell me I brought another battery with me. And please tell me my other battery is full. Or is full. Why is... Shoot, I do have a... Oh, thank God I have another battery. Why is my battery so low? I thought it was fully charged. I need to just buy new batteries, but they're expensive. So anyway... At first I felt like it was very teen angsty. Like, it kind of reads like a John Green book a little bit. But it's actually rather deep. It really reminds me of, this is so crazy because I was just watching this show and I talk about the show in here. She really reminds me of Angela Claire Danes' character from My So-Called Life. This Tori does. And she's like, just, it thinks a lot and is in her head. And it's interesting actually at this one point because they're going to her brother's psychiatry appointment And he says something to her about her needing to make friends, because there's like this guy that like wants to be her friend in the book. I don't want to get into too much in case somebody's going to read it. It's a really good book, and I know Manal is going to read it, so I don't want to ruin it for Manal. I would recommend it to anybody, because it's kind of this like finding yourself if you're lost kind of book, with the whole backdrop. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like, did you ever see Pump Up the Volume? Was that? No. Heathers. The movie Heathers. Like, this Michael Holden character in the book reminds me of Christian Slater in Heathers. There's like this whole background thing that's like this game Solitaire, that's like this website that you don't really know what's going on with this website. Like, you have no clue, like, who's running it and they're doing things like a lot of pranks at school and pranks on the principal. But, like, you have no idea who's running it. And, although like, I've guessed, like, it's this Michael kid, but I'm sure it's not him, because that would be so obvious. But anyway, there's a part where they're, like, she and her parents go to the psychiatry appointment with Charlie. And like, the parents are in talking to the psychiatrist, and she doesn't have to go in, just Charlie. But anyway, she's sitting there talking to him, and he's like, you know, you like need to become friends with this guy. And she's like, why do you think I need to be friends with anybody? What's wrong with me just like being like alone in my head? And he looks at her and he goes, that's how you end up in a place like this. And it was really like interesting observation, I thought, you know, for those of us that spend a lot of time in their head, I spend a lot of time in my head, you know. And I think sometimes, like, you know, there's this recovery idea of getting out of yourself, and like, that's why we do service work for other people, and we fellowship with other people. Like, my head is not always like the healthiest place for me to be, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, I can script conversations in my head, and I can like you know, catastrophize things that never even end up happening. You know, my old sponsor used to say, he'd say 90% of the things that I worry about never even end up happening, you know? And I think there's a lot of truth to that. So I don't know, it's interesting. The book is really good. She's talking about, the part that I'm at right now, she's talking about this guy that she was friends with when she was, like, growing up, like, in primary school. And she's like, I thought we would be friends forever. And she was like, then there was like, she said, like, she didn't see him for a long time. They would see each other like every day. And then she was like, we didn't see each other for a while. And then I ran into him when I was 12. And she said, I gave him my email address and blah, 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 whatever. And she was like, and he said he had sent her a gift. And she was like, I never talked to him again. Because, like, she sees him again in high school. And it was like, oh my God. I was like, and see, I think very much like her, which I think is why this book is resonating with me. I really didn't think I would like these Alice Oseman books, which is so funny. I don't know what got in my head that made me... I was looking at that store. It was like, it had like a big bong picture on the outside. It was like Indy's One Stop Liquor and Smoke Shop or something. Anyway, never seen it before. So I was like, Salon 6, all these stores. Deering Cleaners. Deering Cleaners has been around Indianapolis forever. My mom used to go there when I was a kid. So I was... like, a lot of what she says in the book, I totally relate to. Like, I'm so, like, I think kind of like she does, you know? And I was thinking about this girl. I've told this story on here before. So when I was growing up, one of my mom's dear friends lived across the street from us. So there was 3 houses, kind of like 3.5 houses on the cul-de-sac. One of the houses was kind of like as you were leaving the cul-de-sac. So our house... and then my mom's friend who lived across the street, they moved in a couple years after we did. And she had a daughter that was like 2 or 3 years older than I am, 2 years older than I am. And then she had a son that was like 4 years older than I am. That was like one of my mom's like diehard friends her entire life. And, like, I mean, even after she moved out of there, like, and she's still alive today. Like, she'll contact me every once in a while. And like, her daughter and I were super, super close. Like, our families were close, you know? And, but then the neighbor to my right, she was, like, they had, like, a family. They have this, like, massive house, like, pool, tennis court, and everything. And, there were, like, 5 kids. And the age of the kids was, like, the one closest to me was a year behind me. So she's like 1 year behind me. And then the next boy was like a year ahead of me, which is so funny that I grew up next to him. So they moved. Well, here, I'll tell the story in a second. But anyway, so I grew up with them from like, I don't know, like 8 on or something. So the youngest daughter and I and the girl across the street, we were the 3 that walked around the street. Like when I talk about the 3 that walked around the street and had our lip gloss and the boys played in the coldest, it was the 3 of us. And we were super, super close. Well, they moved. Like the parents went through a divorce, I think. I don't really remember the story. What ended up happening was, it was crazy. The mom ended up being, who was like friends with my mom too. Like my mom kept in contact with her later, but like not close contact. She ended up being my detox nurse when I went into treatment the last time. And then I ended up working with her for 13 years. Because I would always call her Mrs. So-and-so. And she would say, Peter, you don't have to call me that. You can call me by my first name. And I was like, you'll forever be Mrs. So-and-so, my neighbor. But anyway, I remember like when they moved, the day that they're like the moving trucks were there and stuff. And it was in the summer. And I remember she and I sitting out there talking. And she had gotten really involved in sports. And so I think like that summer I hadn't seen her a lot or something. And she and I were standing out there, and I can remember she said, I'm moving. And I said, okay. And I said, and I can remember like being young and being like, I'll probably never see you again. And she said, well, when we're going to school at the same school, we'll see each other. Although we were going to be going to different junior highs. And I said, yeah. And I can remember I got real sad, and I ran inside, and I looked through, I wanted to give her something to remember me. And I gave her this just random book, and it was like Mrs. Switch. Do you guys remember that book where she was like a substitute teacher or something? And I gave her that book, and she was like, thanks. And it's like we hugged each other. We were kids, like we were little kids, like 3rd and 4th grade or something. It was just so weird. Like I can remember looking back on that, and I was so like just deeply sad. Okay, I'm like, I don't know why it's making me sad right now. It's just like I had a lot of like very lonely moments like that as a kid. And then you know what's so weird is that like later when I would see her in high school, we never talked. Like never talked. Like I would talk to her mom, and I would ask her mom like when I worked with her mom like how she was. What is all that? And I would say like, oh, how's so, you know, whatever. And she'd tell me everything she's into and doing, you know. And she's like, real, of course, she's like super successful today. But like everybody that I knew when I was growing up is super successful today. I was gonna say except for me. I don't know, it's kind of hard sometimes when you hear about people you know and they're like, this is the keeping up with the everybody else part, when it's like, oh, what does so-and-so do? Oh, they're a physician at MIT. Oh, really? Yeah, they run the research department on oncology. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, they're like pediatric oncology. I'm like, oh my God, could it just like get any deeper? Then you talk to somebody else, and I'm like, oh, how's your daughter Judy doing? Oh, Judy's doing good. She just opened her 15th restaurant. 15th restaurant? What do you do? Oh, I make YouTube videos. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, how are you? Oh, it's so good to see you. How's your mom? I'm like, well, my mom passed away in 2008. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, it's all right. Well, how's Sally doing? Sally's good, you know? Now, you know that Sally had lupus, and she started a lupus foundation. It's now $1 billion foundation. I'm like, oh, okay. So what have you been doing these days? Well, I make YouTube videos. They're like, you do what? Like, they don't ever get it, first of all. But anyway. It's interesting because I'm never very self-deprecating with that, because I actually love everything that I get to do. Like everything to do with YouTube, I love, you know, and I love that I'm able to get, you know, make a living off of doing something that I absolutely love, right? But like people in the real world don't really understand it. And so I always kind of feel like I don't know, I always kind of feel like stupid or something in comparison to them. But I don't, like every day that I get up, I'm just like, God, I love this. I can't believe this is my life. Like literally, I wake up every day and I'm like, I was just doing some cameos before I left, and I was like, I say a lot in my cameos. I'm like, you know, like, thank you to the person, because like this is just, you know, like I can't believe that I get to do this, you know, like especially when it's like birthdays. I don't know why birthdays, I don't always say this, but I don't know why birthdays. Well, I just got to do a very, very special cameo, but I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to ruin it for somebody on here. But I got to do a very, very special cameo, which was very cool to me. So after the fact, I'll talk about it. But you know, like, I didn't get invited to birthday parties. So people didn't want to sit next to me when I was in school. You know, like, I mean, it was bad. Especially, like, elementary school was bad. And I know that it's like, okay, Peter, but it's been 40 years, you need to get over it. Like, I get that, but, like, that's always going to be a part of me to some degree. And it's hard, you know? And so when people are, like, asking, I mean, I daily get so many people that send me DMs for birthday shout-outs, I can't even keep up with it. And then the cameos on top of that for birthday requests and stuff. And what means a lot to me is when people are like, just be yourself. Like, just do whatever you want to do, be yourself. My wife loves you. Or a lot of husbands and boyfriends, like, buy their wives and girlfriends cameos. And like, I say this quite a bit, but not every single one. I'll be like, it's just, like, you have no idea, like, how much it means to me that anybody might want a birthday message from me. Like, let's put this in the grand scheme of things. I was a kid that nobody wanted at their birthday, right? To then later, you know, 40 years later, be like, people want, like, requesting for me to have, like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things. And sometimes I can't wrap my head around it. Like, I don't get it, you know, like, why people are that kind or feel that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's really sweet, and I love it, and I appreciate it. But I have to boost myself up a lot in my head. You know, Tanya and I were talking about this the other day. We were talking about that tape in our head. Like, I think forever... Well, there was an episode, the Magic book ended today. I want to do a whole video about it on my Peterisms channel before I talk much about it. So today was the last day of the Magic book. I'm kind of sad about it, honestly, but I'm going to keep on doing the gratitude list, and then at the end of the book, it talks about how to keep on applying it in your life, like for the next 3 months, and then after that. I can't believe I actually finished it. I can tell you that I don't think I've ever finished it all the way through before, because I don't remember reading the end of it, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know, and just not remember it. But it was pretty phenomenal. It's weird to think that it's over. I feel like it was just went on and on and on. But one of the things that it talks about in there at the end, it's one of the last exercises, if not, I don't think it's the last exercise, but about, like, loving yourself and thanking yourself in the mirror and looking at yourself and telling yourself things you're grateful for. And, you know, I've talked about that on here, when you look in the mirror and tell yourself 3 things that you love about yourself, right? Like, you know, that you're valuable and you matter and you're worthy. I don't do that as much on here anymore because I do the quick endings. But, like, I really believe in that, you know? But I don't do that a lot. Like, even though it's something that I believe in, I don't do it on a regular basis. And Tanya and I were talking about that the other day. This whole, like, I don't know that it matters how long you've been sober. You still have that piece of you inside. There's, like, always that part of you that's telling yourself that you're, like, a piece of crap, you know? Like, I don't know where that comes from. But it's there. It's been with me for a very, very long time. I don't love it, you know? light stopped. Is it out of focus? Come on. But anyway, I don't love it, but it's there. Now, the difference between me today and, 25, God, I can't believe it's almost 26 years, but we don't borrow time in the program. 25 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks is that I have tools that I can work out of that today. And, things like, it doesn't take me long to say to myself, you're not a piece of crap. And I know that. Like, I know that, in my heart of hearts. I know I'm not a piece of crap. I know that I'm valuable today. I know I'm worthy of love. I know I'm a good person. I know that, I deserve a good life. I know that, I believe these things to be true. But like, on a bad day and a day that I'm kind of down, like, it takes me some work to get there, So I don't know. But I relate a lot to this book. I like it. I was kind of wanting just to read it so I could get these other 2 shorter books done. But now I'm kind of sad that it's like almost over. Like, I really like it. If you want to participate in the book club this month, a true crime book club, we are reading something Justice. I can't remember who the guy's name is. It's about Casey Anthony, but all you have to do is go to the Facebook group listed below and join it. And you just have to answer 3 questions, which I think are like, what's your favorite genre of true crime? What's your favorite book in true crime? And I don't know what they are, actually. I know that one of them is what's your favorite true crime genre, and then I don't know what the second one is, and the third one is, do you agree to follow the rules of the True Crime Book Club? And that's all you have to do, and then you're a member. It's real easy. I actually joined the Jana DeLeon book or Facebook group on. I don't know why. I'm never on Facebook, but I was really excited about it. The Misfortune series. So we had a good time in the book club today. Let's see who guessed it. Misha guessed it, and Karen guessed it, and Karen reminds me so much of a friend of mine that I had back in the day when I was in graduate school. And she was talking about how she doesn't have TV. Well, she has a TV, but she doesn't watch TV. She doesn't watch like Netflix or anything. And so reminds me of this friend of mine that I had. That I always kind of like inside, like I aspired to be like that, but I was like, I know that I'm too superficial. I just love TV. I love TV. So, but this friend of mine like was always making like loose leaf tea and listened to like lots of NPR, and I always wanted to be like that, like very earthy, and I wasn't. And Karen kind of reminds, not earthy, but like Karen just kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Just very like whole and like intellectual. How I like to think of myself, but I'm not. I'm more like Misha, lip gloss. So Misha came in, and then Lauren came in, and then Manal came in, and Manal has read every book recommendation I have made this year. She's so hilarious. I could totally see she and I being friends, like off of the book club. And she's read all 18 of the Misfortune books, you guys. I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. So yeah, she's read all of those, and oh my God, she said she's read like every recommendation that I've made and this year, and and then she said she's read like 94 or 96 books, and I was like, F you. Because she's read everything I recommended plus some, and here I finished 78 books today because I counted the Magic book because I had read every page of that, so I was like, I'm putting that in there. So I've read 78 books. So Solitaire will be 79. So I'm like one off from 80, which means I have to read I literally could drink about 10 of these things of water. I'm so thirsty. I feel kind of like, Tanya and I were talking about that tonight, like with our heat, like 69 in our house. I know some people are gonna be like, oh my God, that's so high, but I'm just telling you for our house, I don't know how to do it. Tanya said hers is between 69 and 72. Okay, 69 in our house, and it's like cold. Like Alex is like, Peter, are you like chilly? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cold. 70 is like too hot. There's like no like rhyme or reason between the two. And then I'm dehydrated because it's like dry in the house. You know what I mean? So anyway, Tanya and I were talking about that. Our deep conversations that we have. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so anyway, and then I have like 6 to 8, what do you call it? Graphic novels that I want to read. So if I read 2 of those a week, okay, then that's 12 books that I have to read left, which means I have to only read 3 books a week, and I can hit my 100 books again. Or not again, I can hit 100 books for the first time. Won't that be so crazy if I hit my goal? I know I'm gonna hit my goal. I'm convinced of it. I'm not gonna allow, if I have to that last week, if I have to listen to 2 books a day, I'm finishing my goal. I'm just telling you right now. That's just gonna be how it is. I don't know why I'm thinking of this song, but do you guys remember that song? I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't know what was making me think of that song by the Ramones. I didn't really like that movie. I watched that movie on some plane coming back, the new one. I remember the old one kind of, and it really creeped me out. And then I watched the remake of the new one on the plane coming back from somewhere. I don't know, it was like a year ago. And it really creeped me out. I really did not like it. Have you guys seen it? Now tomorrow for Bad Movie Monday, do you guys want to hear? I picked a Christmas movie. I started watching it already. It's called, I mean, of course I have to because it's 2:22 a.m. in the morning. It's called Santa Jaws. It's about this shark, this great white, that has a Santa hat on. At the beginning, he kills, this guy has like kidnapped this woman or something, and he's dressed up like Santa Claus, and so then him and this other guy are like fighting, and the guy like gets pushed into the water, he like kicks him to the water, and he's got a Santa hat on, and so like the shark comes and eats the guy, this old guy. And then like the Santa hat is like sitting on top of the water, and then all of a sudden it's like bubbles, like he came up and got the hat, and then all of a sudden the shark comes out of the water. You guys, true story, okay? Shark comes out of the water, and on its fin is a shark hat. Oh my God, you guys, my battery just started flashing. Damn it. I swear, if I pull this battery out, and this battery, if I put it in there and it is not a fully charged battery, I'm gonna be so bitter. But then we're gonna end the vlog early if that's the case. Because I can't drive home and get my other battery and come back. I'm gonna pull into this Speedway up in here, change my battery. But anyway, that's my movie that I have to watch for tomorrow. If I don't finish it by tomorrow, I'll put it up for Tuesday, but I know that people aren't super excited about Bad Movie Monday reviews, but I'm gonna keep it going for a while. I mean, I've done 9 million Starbucks drinks. I think I'm actually going to do some real Christmas movies on there. What do you think about that? And I may review the Heaven's Gate documentary. So, hold on, please. Okay, it looks like it's full. But sometimes within like 30 seconds, it starts flashing, which means it's dead. I don't know, let's hope and see if it's full. I won't know for like a minute or a half, 30 seconds anyway. It usually starts flashing pretty quickly. So if it's not flashing right now, I'm assuming that it's full. Anyway, so that's the movie that I'm watching for tomorrow. I like scoured trying to find movies. I was gonna watch this movie called Krampus, I think is what it's called. A lot of people recommended it to me. And then there was Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which a lot of people said was like the worst Christmas horror movie ever, scary movie. And Santa vs. the Martians was another one. I read like all these lists of like the worst Christmas movies ever. The thing was, like, some of them on there, I didn't necessarily agree with. Like, some of them, for me, like, I can't remember what some of the recommendations were, but, like, a lot of them on there, like, some of them had Elf on there. Well, some people consider Elf the best Christmas movie ever, you know? So I think, like, a lot of those lists are just completely up to the person that's making them, you know? I don't know. The only one that I, like, went by completely was, like, the Rotten Tomatoes one, because that was based on, like, scores. It is so hot in here. Whew. I was gonna wear a t-shirt, and then I threw on the sweatshirt at the last minute. And I was like, let's just wear this. I wish I had worn the t-shirt now. And I know when I was listening to that book, I was thinking of that part in My So-Called Life where she's sitting in class. I think this is part of, like, episode 2. And she's talking about personality. I think this is such an interesting, like, observation. I've talked about this on here, I think, before when I watched the episode. You know, I bought the whole season, the whole series. So I've been going in and watching the episodes, like, just here and there. And she said, like, somebody presents you with, like, a personality, and then it sticks, and then, like, you agree to this personality, but, like, what if you change over time, and people know you for this personality that you had, like, in 3rd grade? And I thought about that, you know, and I thought, this is so interesting. It's like, I think, like, you know, it's really, like, with growing up, like, I can only use my experience, but I think, like, a good experience would be, like, the girl that's, like, the goody two-shoes growing up, right? And then, like, everybody just expects her to be this goody two-shoes. And then she, like, gets a boyfriend in, like, 7th grade or 8th grade. She has, like, 3 boyfriends or whatever. And then all of a sudden she has this horrible reputation, right? And it's like, who decided that this is who she's going to be? And then you use it against her, right? Like, that's so horrible that we do that, right? I remember when I was in high school, this guy that I went to high school with, our parents are friends because his mom and dad work for the hospital that my dad used to work at. So they knew each other because my dad and his parents were friends. And he was always kind of, like, not popular, but, like, not unpopular. He was kind of, like, and I wouldn't say nerdy, just smart. Like, he was just, like, a smart kid that was just kind of, like, normal, right? And I remember he, like, I had to take economics my senior year, and I remember he was in my economics class. I don't know how I remember this, but we used to ride the bus together. And I knew his younger brother, too. His younger brother ended up coming out later. And so I knew him and some of his friends. But they were all, like, good friends in high school. Like, he was friends with guys in my age. Like, he's good friends to this day with guys that I graduated with. And they were all, like, in choir and stuff together. And I don't know if they were out in high school or whatever, but nobody was including me in that crowd. You know, I was all alone. Which is whatever. Whenever I see them, I'm just, like, super nice. But his brother, I can remember his brother was in my economics class. And, like, something happened, like, from, like, junior year to senior year. Like, he went to some camp over the summer or something. I don't remember what it was. I think it was, like, Culver Camp, which is, like, some military camp or something. And I can just remember, like, he, like, all of a sudden, like, came back our senior year. It was so weird because it was so late. Like, I mean, I had gone to school with him, elementary, junior high, and high school, right? Like, we used to, like, trick-or-treat together and stuff like that. Like, our parents were friends. And I can remember just, like, looking at him in this economics class and, like, and being like, what the F happened to this dude? Like, seriously? Like, so good looking. Like, literally came back, like, over the summer. Like, he wore glasses. He then had contacts. And then, like, I mean, he was ripped from, like, and he was a diver on the diving team, which he had never been on the swimming or diving team before. Came into senior year diving, like, competitively diving. And was, like, everybody liked him. Super popular overnight. And I can remember him being, like, in this economics class and just, like, going back and forth, like, getting into it almost kind of with the teacher. Like, the teacher didn't know what he was talking about when it came to, like, we had to, like, pick stocks and follow them. And he was, like, calling the teacher out on stuff. Like, the teacher was telling us to do something incorrectly. I can remember I was so lost in that class, I don't even really, I picked, like, I don't know, Neutrogena, because that was the skincare products that I used. I just was so, I mean, like, another class that I barely skid by, you know? But anyway, I remember him, like, getting into it with the teacher, and I was like, how does he know so much about this? Now he literally runs one of the, like, I mean, it's not even a Fortune 500. It's like a Fortune 100 company that he, like, started, and, like, it's just unbelievable to me. And he lives in, like, this massive compound. I, like hadn't thought about him in forever, and, like, I was thinking about his brother. His brother has a very cool job. And so I just happened to be looking at it. I was like, oh my God, like, he's like a really big deal. So you're like a really big deal. Yes, like, he's a really big deal. But, you know, like, all his, like, growing up life, like, he just was kind of like this, like, not a nobody. Like, people liked him, you know, but he wasn't, like, the most popular. I mean, he was, like, good. Like, I can remember girls were, like, fawning over him, like, our senior year. Like, he literally came back and was like, he's very kind of Superman looking anyway. So he looked like that whole, like, you know, dark hair and glasses and all of that kind of stuff. And then he had contacts, and he was Clark Kent. He became Superman. That's like, so, like, who does decide, you know, like, who we're going to be like and why, you know? I'm a big believer in, like, reinventing yourself over and over and over again, you know? I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and they were saying, I've reinvented myself. Who was it? I was talking to, they said, I've reinvented myself before and I can do it again. I think we all reinvent ourselves over and over and over again, a little bit at a time, you know? Are you guys keeping up with Pathology? Michael's vlog? I am. They got a Christmas tree. They went to Whole Foods and got a Christmas tree. And his wife, Emily, was in the vlog with him, which was real nice. Real nice. Hi, Emily. How are you? And he doesn't watch my drama videos, so he doesn't know about the drama phone. Oh, hi, Jane. How are you? Well, this is Emily. This is Vivian, Emily's aunt. Well, I'm having her and Michael over. We're going to have gimlets, Jane. Oh, my gosh. I talked to this friend of mine on the phone yesterday, and he's, like, so wanting to get into YouTube. And, well, he started YouTube, but he's doing, like, gaming and stuff like that. And I was like, anyway, by the end of this conversation, I was like, because I was like, have you ever thought about doing ... He was like, oh my God, like, I've really thought about that, but I didn't know what people would think. And I was like, I think you should do it, you know? And he was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. He was so excited by the time he got off the phone. And I was so excited for him. It's always fun to talk to people that just, like, get so impassioned about it, you know? And YouTube is, like, such a cool place. I get to be honest with you, YouTube has its issues, you know? Like, I was watching, whose channel was I? Oh, Adam McIntyre gains about 1,000 subscribers a day, right? I haven't gained a subscriber on my drama channel in about a year. Like, I'm losing 50 to 100 subscribers a day. And, which I'm happy for Adam, you know, congratulations and stuff. And I always say that to him, but not he, but I know that, like, YouTube has its issues, right? Like, with that kind of stuff and all kinds of other stuff that happens to people and whatever. And it's not a perfect platform, and I get that, and I've had my own share of issues with it. But the fact that, like, there is this place where you can come and you can make a channel about whatever you want to make it and talk about whatever you want to talk about it. I mean, within, you know, obviously being not offensive, you know, like, is that not, there's a Christmas tree right in that window in the corner of that condo, and it's so pretty. I mean, is that not the coolest thing? Like, anybody can. Any one of you out there could start a YouTube channel today. Like, right this second. You could say, okay, I'm starting a YouTube channel right now, and within 5 minutes, you could have a YouTube channel. It literally is that easy. You just go in, start a Google account, and start your YouTube account, and figure out what you're going to call it. You don't even have to call it anything if you don't want to. You know? You could just... I don't know. I just think the whole thing is so cool. And I'm such a believer in, like, just talking, you know? Like, I just love this medium so much. Like, medium. But you know what I mean? Like, I just love this so much. This idea that you can just, like, talk to another human being, like, through this. And I may never meet you guys or see you guys, but we build some kind of relationship, you know? It was, like, funny because Michael was saying that. He was like, I feel like you know so much about me already. Because I was asking him, like, a lot of... Or, no, he said, I feel like I know so much about you already. Because I was asking him, like, all these questions about school and they're like how long they've been together and where he was from and all this kind of stuff. And it's crazy, isn't it? Like how we can get to know somebody, you know, through like YouTube. I love YouTube. I actually have like several videos I need to watch. I've like, so I'm so like, do you guys like add videos to your watch list? What is that? Is that a, oh, that's a deer like in the middle of like Indianapolis. Not even like the, I thought it was a horse. It was so big. God, I was like, is there a horse like free? I'm literally, if you guys are living in Indianapolis, I am at 86 and Park right now. I'm like right in Nora. Like, and there's a deer running across this. I mean, this is like a major, like, this is not like the woods, okay? For example, right here to our, I don't know if I can show you this or not, if you'll see it. Right here to our left, you can see that there are two two grocery shopping carts right there. Which, that's also the bus stop. So what people do is they push their groceries all the way down there and they carry them on the, then they just leave the carts right there. I don't think it's very nice, but I don't think it's stupid either. Like, I don't know that I wouldn't want to carry my groceries all the way from Kroger or Whole Foods all the way down to the bus stop. Boo Radley and Tucker were so funny today. So, you know, like Boo Radley couldn't get his face like groomed because he got so nervous and stuff the last time, so we kind of like just left it like it's like this lion. And at first we were both kind of like, he needs it trimmed short, but I don't want to stress him out. And I think I brought some Kleenex because my nose had kind of been running a little bit. So he's got kind of like, he's all shaved down. I mean, now he's kind of growing out a little bit, so it's kind of sweet. But he's got this big hedge, you know, like, of hair. But the thing is that she didn't get this one spot over here when she was trimming it kind of short. And so, like, there's this long hair that's, like, out to here. And it's, like, this tuft of hair. And it's so cute. And I keep on meaning to go in and cut it, but like every time I see it, I'm just like, that is so adorable. Like I can't, like I just look at him and he looks at me like, Dad, and he's got this long like tuft of hair coming off of him, and I just can't cut it because I'm like, it's so sweet. It's just like the sweetest thing, you know? And I'm like, I just can't. I love it too much. Isn't that funny? Oh man. Have a holly jolly Christmas. I have my Christmas list up of for everybody that I have to get things for this year. And Alex has about 6 things on there. And I have to, I just have to go in there and buy the things now. I kind of think I'm just going to order everything online. It's so much easier, isn't it? The only thing is, do you guys ever hate paying for shipping and handling? I mean, like, okay, I'm talking about stuff that's not like on Amazon Prime and stuff like that. For me, even like if it's $5 shipping and handling, which isn't a lot, I'm like, but if I went into the store, I could just get it and not have to pay shipping and handling. You know what I mean? But then a lot of things that they have, they only have online. Alex loves this restaurant, Verde. We went to a Christmas party there a couple years ago, the one in Carmel. It's like a Mexican restaurant. I don't love it. It's like really, really authentic Mexican restaurant or food. Which, I mean, hey, that's great, but it's like they come to your table and they make guacamole, like homemade and all that stuff, which I love that. I think that's cool. But like, I got a burrito, and it was like this open-faced burrito, and like, I got a vegetarian burrito, and I was really just wanting like beans and like corn and that, you know, like that's it. Cheese, lots of cheese. Like I love cheese and bean empanadas. But anyway, it was like red peppers, green peppers, onions, it was like broccoli. It was like all this weirdness in there. It was, I mean, not weirdness, it's vegetables, which is weirdness sometimes to me. But you know what I mean? It's like, and I just was kind of like, I don't know, it just tasted real bland, and there wasn't a lot of cheese in it. And that's not why I go to Mexican. I like Tex-Mex kind of stuff. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, that's what I like. Like those Cancun restaurants, I live for those. There used to be, right here, what's that Mexican restaurant? It had that corn succotash stuff, and I loved it. Don Pablo's. What happened to Don Pablo's? They all closed down. I'm so tired of stuff closing down in my world. I'm so over it. Like, I get a restaurant that I really like, and then they close it, you know? Don Pablo's is now Panera Bread, because what do we need? Another Panera Bread in this world. Do you know what I mean? We have them on every other corner. Oh, another Speedway or Subway open? Thank God, we needed another Subway. I can't even go in those places. They make me sick. They all smell so like, what is that smell in a Subway? Do you know what I'm talking about? That smell that's like, it's the meat is what it is. It's that processed meat. And you know what is so crazy? Is that I used to love the Subway. I was like, the Subway. I used to go into the Subway I used to go to Subway all the time. And do you guys want to know what's even weirder than this? Because I knew people that worked there, and they would always say, don't get the tuna fish, because it comes in this gross package. And I would always get the tuna fish. This was before I was a vegetarian. I used to get the veggie subs from there too, but this is what I would get. There's Harriet Izzy's, my sponsor. She and this guy that she's seen, they went there last night for a date. But anyway, it's like a steakhouse. So, I would get a foot-long, you guys, this is so gross. I would get a foot-long tuna on whole wheat with pepper jack cheese. And then I would get lettuce, onion, green peppers, banana peppers, light mayonnaise a little bit, yellow mustard, and black pepper. And white chip macadamia nut cookies, 2 of them. And I would get chips at the gas station with a drink, because I get a big bag of sour cream and onion chips. I wonder why I struggle with my weight. I wouldn't get the chips that come at Subway. I would go to the gas station and get a huge fountain pop root beer, okay? And then I would get a huge bag of sour cream and onion chips, because I didn't want those small bags. I mean, you get more for your money, right? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Where am I at on time? I can't even see. I think I've been vlogging for like exactly an hour. I think I started at like 1:44, didn't I? I don't know. I don't know much, but I know I love you. I feel like there's a lot of liquor ads. Pour one out for 2020. It was like a wine. It was like a wine ad. I wonder, like, if I had never been an alcoholic, if I would be like a wine drinker, like a wine connoisseur. Like, if I had never been an alcoholic, I wonder what my drink would be. Whenever I, like, crave, or I think, like, not crave, but, like, I gotta have it, not like that, but whenever I think of, like, oh, God, it'd be, like, nice to be able to have a drink, do you know what it always is? It's always beer. Like, I always think of, like, a cold beer. Sounds so good. And I have to say, I've been very jealous of, like, the whole IPA movement, which I didn't even know what IPA stood for forever, but, you know, I just never got to partake in that whole journey of the craft beer and the small, you know, like, none of that. Get a trial, winter ale, and, you know, all these things that, like, oh my God. There was this booktube. I haven't watched them in forever. I think they changed their name, but they used to be called the Restricted Section. It was these two women, and for every video, they would, like, try a new kind of beer. They even had, like, Harry Potter, like, beer one time in there, like, not butter beer, but, like, legit beer. They, like, anyway, but it wasn't, like, book-themed beer. It was always, like, they just try a different beer or ale, and then they would, like, rate the ale and talk about how good it was, and they would talk about these books, and they read these hilarious books. I loved them so much. I know that I know they're still on BookTube, but I don't know what their name is anymore. I should look it up in a second. But anyway, I can remember watching their videos, and I'd always just be like, God, I want to try what that beer tastes like. It's like a kid in a candy shop, really, you know? And, do you ever wonder why, like, restaurants like Denny's, if they're open 24 hours, why they have locks on their doors? Somebody said that to me, and it really effed with my head for a long time. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Why do they have locks on their doors? Anyway, I mean, in case of a zombie apocalypse, right? What was I gonna say? I just like the idea of, like, I loved cold beer. And I think too, like, because I drank a lot of 40s back in the day, which is, like, you know, malt liquor. But, like, sometimes it just tasted like Colt 45, Old English, like, it just tasted like really, like, strong beer to me sometimes. And I would also drink, like, those Fosters, like those 40-ounce Fosters. I loved those. Oh, and I loved the 40-ounce Sapporos. I would drink those. I loved Red Stripe, was probably my favorite beer, Red Stripe. And I would get a 6-pack of that, those little bottles. I had a Red Stripe t-shirt back in the day. I had a sponsor that made me throw out, like, one of my first sponsors made me throw out any t-shirt, any hat, or anything that had any kind of, like, alcohol. I had to throw it out with all my wine glasses, all my margarita glasses. I had such a hard time doing that. But he was like, you don't need anything that represents alcohol and sobriety. We have wine glasses and bottles at our house today. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, Tanya does too at her house because of her husband. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me today. But in early sobriety, like, well, I wouldn't, but I don't have any clothes that say, like, alcohol names on it, and I don't have, like, a hat. I can remember I really, really wanted this, like, Budweiser hat. It was so cute. And I went around and around in my head, like, should I get this hat? Should I not get this hat? And I was like, it's a hat. It's not as important as your sobriety. Like, not that wearing a hat's gonna risk my sobriety, but I do feel like I want to be representative. I was just gonna pull in the post office and somebody just pulled in there. But I do want to be representative of sobriety, you know? And I don't think that wearing a hat that has a liquor brand on it is, like, that's not who I want to be. You know what I mean? So, I'm not. You guys think I'm going to finish this book tonight or no? I actually had something I needed to mail. I should have brought it with me tonight, but I didn't think I was going to go to the post office. Hold on a second. I'm way out of time. I want to go look up the restricted section and tell you guys what they're called, because they are hilarious. And they are such great booktubers. They're not called the restricted section anymore. I know they're not. But I don't remember what they're called anymore. Damn it. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to find them. I follow them on Twitter. If anybody knows what their name is, would you please let me know? Here it is, restricted section booktuber. Oh, here they are. Spine Breakers, that's right. Okay, so they're called Spine Breakers now. They're still posting videos regularly. They have 2.75 thousand subscribers. These girls are hilarious, you guys. They did book to movie review, The Invisible Man, After Dark, The Thing. They do a lot of like scary books too, like horror books. I love them. I forgot all about them. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch. I'm gonna have to. Oh my god, I've got tons of their books to binge. Oh, I'm so excited. I love them. They are so hilarious. And they actually do really good reviews too. Challenge 10, read a book from your most owned genre. I'm so happy that they're still around. Okay, so their channel is called Spine Breakers, and you guys should definitely go check it out. And their last video is from 2 days ago. Challenge 10. IY Girl 2020. This is a readathon they're doing. Oh, IY Girl readathon announcement. Are they putting it on maybe? I don't know. Library sale wrap up. That's the kind of stuff that I like. A library sale haul. September wrap up. Anyway, oh, I love them so much. I'm so happy they're still around. I'm gonna like watch a bunch of their videos tonight. Oh, I have to watch Santa Jaws. Anyway, you guys, listen, I'm gonna get off here so I can finish my audiobook so that I can go home and I can watch Santa Jaws so that I can do my review tomorrow. So anyway, Jane. Anyway, I love you guys so much, and if nobody else has told you this today, I love you, and don't forget to look in the mirror and tell yourself 3 positive things about yourself. You're valuable, you're good looking, and you're important to this world. And I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!